When prices go down, people buy. When prices go up, people buy. So the game is nearing an end, in my view. It's just a question of when, not if.
No, you mentioned how a lot of people are buying right now, and we've seen this since the beginning of COVID, and then there was the silver squeeze, and then silver squeeze 2.0, and just a whole lot of demand for physical silver. The U.S. Mint actually just posted on Facebook that, they're struggling to meet demand because of the global silver shortage. Those are the words they use, the global silver shortage. Your perspective on now the U.S. Mint acknowledging this?
I think that's very important because, as you know, legally they are tasked with supplying the silver that the public demands. And if they're having trouble getting it, and this isn't just some blog post, this is the Mint themselves talking. So this is one more big tea leaf that shows us that things are unwinding rapidly. And only the newbies that just started accumulating yesterday are scared. Everybody else that's been around for a while knows that this game has an ending and it's in sight.
I just find it so interesting that the Mint itself actually acknowledged a shortage in silver. I mean, where do you see this heading? Do you see the shortage getting worse?
I really do. And whether or not the edifice just cracks all of a sudden or more cracks come in and finally there's no silver at all, it's difficult to say exactly what it'll look like. But I think when it does happen, people that have been waiting around for some magic price are going to find out that the magic they're looking for is unavailable at any price.
In your perspective, why do you think that there is this shortage right now of physical silver?
Well, more and more people are understanding the narrative of what this really means and the difference between physical and paper. It's out in the public. It's not something that's hidden anymore. And even the people that are trying to move the price around with their paper are not trying to hide it. So I think anyone who does any amount of research in what's going on will come to see very quickly that this is a game that is rigged, and it's one and it's going to fall on its own face very soon, because you can only fool Mother Nature so long, and the market. And Mr. Market is not to be fooled indefinitely.
The interesting dynamic with silver, though, is that it's both an investment and an industrial commodity, right? And there's a lot of industrial demand as well. So we're seeing this shortage in silver at the same time. Industry, needs it for green energy, and all the pretty much, everything electronic uses some sort of silver. So your perspective on that, how we're kind of seeing this investment demand and this industrial demand very strong at the same time.
The change in the last couple of weeks was some things on the boards of major oil companies such as Exxon, where 3 board members were moved off in terms of people that promised zero emissions and changing the whole face of the oil industry. This is sweeping like a tsunami. I thought it would take several years to play out where the oil industries might be challenged to up their game, but it's happening in real time, in days and weeks. And the movement toward an ESG future and a carbon neutral future. Now, we can take issue with how reliable that's going to be and how attainable it's going to be. But the point is, there are forces that are moving this in a direction which are going to overwhelm the supply of copper, of silver, and other base metals, because this has not been fully thought out. In other words, instead of allowing this to happen over a couple of decades, people want it now. And so they're going to do whatever is necessary to push the industries in that direction. And some of it is going to be ill-conceived, and the fallout is going to be that the metal supply is going to absolutely dry up. You can see what's happened with copper lately. You can see what's happening with silver. And I think it's going to push this narrative in a different direction much more quickly than any of us can imagine, with the good and the bad coming out. And we'll see which one ends up on top, whether it would be more good or more bad. But either way, it's going to massively affect the fortunes of silver and its availability. So anyone that's waiting around is going to end up becoming a spectator rather than a speculator very soon, in my view.
Silver did fall to about $11 or $12 last year. Do you see the possibility of that happening again? Or because we are seeing a fall in the price of silver by about $1 today, could it continue further, or how low could silver go?
It could certainly continue further, and I don't see $12 again. Of course, anything is possible. But let me say this. If you see a sharp drop in silver of several dollars, don't blink, because by the time you open your eyes again, it'll probably be back up to where it was. This is going to be like pouring water in a test tube beaker. It's going to go down to the bottom and come up the other end more quickly than you can imagine. This is not a punch bowl. It's a very narrow V-shaped situation. So I'm watching the mining stocks. They're saying, we're not worried. I'm watching the supply of silver. We're saying, we're not worried about anything new coming on in the market or a drop in price. So this is just something that is fascinating, and we're going to look back on it and wonder how we didn't see it coming. Those who proceeded to look the other way when all the evidence is pointing in this way. I don't know what more information the naysayers need, that this is artificial and rigged, and it has a very short shelf life than what's going on behind the scenes. The backstory completely obviates what's going on today in the markets.
Regarding that physical demand and the premiums we're seeing, some people have been, calling us and saying, we want American silver eagles, right? And there's often this this desire for the American coins, right? The silver eagles and also the junk silver. And because it is so popular, there are higher premiums on those. Silver eagles are the most popular silver coin. In your perspective, do you think people should be buying just American-made coins, or, are other mints just as good?
I own them myself, and they're beautiful. And as you know, there's a design change coming out this fall. But the premiums are just insane. And to pay $12 or $10 over spot is not a good business way to do it. I still think that bullion coins, 1 ounce and 5 and 10 and 20 ounce and even maybe 100 ounce silver bars are really a cost-effective way to go. So if you're trying to get something close to spot, relatively speaking, that's the way to go in my view. And as you know, there are times when the 1 ouncers carry a premium that's all out of proportion to buying a 5 ouncer on a per ounce basis. So you bob and weave a little bit. But in my view, this is the time to be bold and bright. Now, be bold doesn't mean taking out a home loan to buy more silver. Being bold means to hold on to what you know is right. Don't be selling your silver. If you have money that's allocated for more silver, buy a little bit more. Go against your emotions, because emotions, we still are primitives with computers, and our emotions have not changed in thousands of years. When you see times like this, people panic, but the people that make and keep the big money are the ones that are buying right now, in my view.